Hey lovies, this is Michelle here at Life Matcha Tarot. I hope that you guys are all doing great on this Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday evening. I've missed you guys. It's been a little bit. It's been almost 2 weeks. Just been kind of busy and trying to catch up on some rest and things of that nature. But with all that said, I'm grateful for you guys for popping in when you guys start tapping in. So as you guys saw, this is a collective message tonight, and it's going to be for the fall energy. I did not get to do it on the actual, start of fall, but nonetheless, here we are, a couple of days later or so, to kind of tap in and see what the fall energy is looking like for you guys and what you guys can kind of expect, things you're working on releasing, things of that nature. So for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome, and I hope you like what you see here. Decide to stick around, hit that subscribe button, that like button, all that good stuff to help support the channel. And for those of you who have already been rocking with your girl for a while, like Yvette here, hi Yvette, welcome. um, yeah, thank you for being my road dogs, and for the continued support. I really appreciate you guys greatly. So without further ado, like I mentioned before, this is a collective message tonight. I do not have the energy to do free readings. The last time I did it for like, it was over 5 hours, like 5.5 hours. So that will not be happening tonight. Um, I will start developing a schedule and stuff so I can kind of, my son just kind of was beating me in the head, like, you gotta come up with a schedule, mom, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, okay. Yeah, so anywho, hey Monica, how are you? So as I said before, I'm grateful for folks who've been rocking with me for a while and whatnot. Really, really grateful. So yeah, without further ado, like I said, this is a collective talking about the fall energy, things that are being released, what you guys are working on, like manifesting and how to get there, so on and so forth. So we're gonna start with, let's see, pulled out a few decks to kind of get the ball rolling. I think I want to start with these. We're going to start with the Ascending Life Oracle deck here. And just kind of get like the overall energy of the collective to start, and then we'll go from there. All right, Spirit, I let positive energy into this reading. Clearest and most accurate messages for the collective, please and thank you. Let's see. What does the collective need to know at this time for their highest good? Clearest and most accurate messages. One more shuffle. All right. All right. Ooh. Okay. Bottom of the deck, we have passion, lustful desires, sexual connection with someone, new passion in life, and active sex life. Oh, I mean, hey, more power to you if that's what's going on. Or for some of you, maybe that's, what you should be doing. And for others, like, it does say in there, like, maybe you're passionate about something. Could be about your career or something. Let's see. I mean, that's just on the bottom of the deck, so let's just see what else is going on. There's the most accurate messages for the collective. Thank you. Ooh, so this is already looking like it might be a love reading possibly. We have love, romantic feelings, mutual attraction. Someone has feelings for you and focusing on love. Interesting. So maybe, for some of you guys are about to start dating again, if, the dating scene has been kind of, a little bit lackluster. um, we have the star here, wish fulfillment, blessings, wealth and fame, becoming quite popular, brand new and hopeful life. Interesting. Maybe restoring your sense of faith and hope when it comes to love. I'm not sure. I have no idea what's happening yet, guys. We're just getting it started, so tell us more. I'm very intrigued. Let's do maybe 2 or 3 more cards from here, and then I'll pull from the other another deck to see more about like the energy, the overall stuff going on. fluidity. All right, so maybe you guys learned some lessons when it comes to love. We have staying flexible and adaptable, keeping an open mind, going with the flow, and being teachable. So maybe you had to learn something when it came to love, and maybe what it is that you want in love, uh, in order to be able to welcome in what it is that you really truly want versus, maybe repeating old patterns, things like that. There might be some built up anger when it comes to that as well. We do have anger here on the bottom of the deck. It says you feel you've been wronged, arguments, disagreements, temper, egos clash, pent up anger. So that's interesting. So maybe just learning some lessons when it comes to that. I didn't realize how dark and cloudy it got very quickly here in Connecticut. My cat opened up the the curtain and I was like, oh, it's dark out there. What we got? Some eclipse. We have Evil Eye. That card is like trying not to be seen. We're going to see. We're going to expose whatever this is. You are protected. Cleanse and protect your energy. Jealous people nearby, careful of who you trust. So for some people, there could have been situations in which it made it very difficult for you to be able to focus on love. Perhaps you had issues with a partner or people around you with like jealousy and things like that. But they're saying that you are protected. It's not one of those things that you should be overly worried about. Like you will be able to, get past it. Yeah, it's just about being patient at this time. We do have the waiting game here on the bottom of the deck. I'm not sure why I'm getting this, but for somebody, someone might have like a nice like encounter in the upcoming near future of like going on like a little mini date like at a park or something like that, taking a walk. I just heard Jill Scott, a long walk. Let's take a long walk around the park after dark. Sometimes those little simple dates are the best ones. Just saying. That's not gonna resonate with everybody, but that might be something for somebody. It says, waiting for something or someone, expecting to hear news, putting your life on hold, prepared, ready, and waiting. So you guys, it's been, it might have been like a little, time coming to get to this point, but let's get one more from here. But it does seem like there's some type of changes getting ready to happen. And this is after learning a valuable lesson about love, and because it's definitely what it's like kind of feeling like. Wasn't sure what it was gonna be. That's why I pulled a bunch of different decks. I was like, let's just see where this is gonna go. We have you definitely had to go through like a painful lesson. We have thorns here, a painful sacrifice, hard choices to prevail. Life is testing you and suffering for a goal. So for some of you who are resonating with this reading so far, you dealt with something in a past relationship, and mostly when it comes to romantic stuff, it's going to be different for everybody, so take it as it resonates, but I'm more so picking up on romance at this time. Had to learn some lessons, and there is definitely some negative energy within those situations that you had to deal with. However, you did learn some lessons. You had to learn how to let go and release that. So some of you guys might still be dealing with, the ramifications of what that looks like. Yeah. Some of you guys might be like, wondering like, coulda, woulda, shoulda, that type of thing. But yeah, the thing is, it's like you've definitely, it's been a learning lesson. And there might be times where you wonder, like, could it have worked with X, Y, and Z, like certain people and stuff like that. But, Spirit is basically saying, like, you had to learn from the mistakes that, have happened in order to move forward. So while there might be those times where you wonder about reconciliations and things like that, understand that, you had to learn some karmic lessons to get to this point, So this is about shedding and releasing, letting go. Yeah. That's what I'm picking up on so far. All right. So next deck I'm going to pick from, pick from and read from is the Energy Oracle cards here. See if there's any messages that kind of can coincide with what we're seeing so far. Yeah, see, releasing, right? Cutting off those old attachments that no longer serve you. All right, Spirit, what else does the collective need to know? Let's get 3 more shuffles. You. See, it's definitely elevating. Angel of Love here. All right, let's get like maybe 3 or 4 from this deck. What else does the collective need to know at this time, Spirit? For their highest good, there's the most accurate. You. Okay. Angel of Balance. Balancing things out. Finding, like, you know, when I initially looked up, the number 11 was there, which is the number of balance. So it's definitely giving me, like, there were karmic lessons and things like that that needed to be learned. I did see the karmic justice card in the other deck before. Some of you might have Libra in your chart. But yeah, so like you're learning how to kind of, or not even that you're learning, like the scales have been balanced because you've been working on, you know, learning the lessons that needed to be learned and applying those lessons when it comes to, you know, pushing forward and going towards what it is that you want at this time. This is why fluidity is here. 11:44 when I looked up. So being able to be teachable in these moments, you know, that required, you know, a lot of painful sacrifice to get through all of it, right? But those scales are about to balance out. I'm also getting like finding a sense of peace and serenity and balance within yourself as well. Self-love, self-care kind of vibes. Hey, she is. How are you? Great to see you. I always love to see people coming back. That makes me happy. Bottom of the deck, we have the 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel here, which is about the crown chakra. It's about, you know, those downloads that you get from spirit guides and things like that. So your crown chakra, you know, it could be very activated right now, or maybe it's underactive depending on your circumstances. Everybody's going to be in different places right now. But I feel like a lot of you guys are working towards having that being balanced out. And we do have on the top of the deck, door to personal healing and happiness. I like to see that energy. Yeah, appreciation here. Maybe one of the lessons that needed to be learned when it came to all of this is being able to have that equal give and take in relationships. That pops up a lot. So reciprocity, right? Being able to not only, you know, appreciate the people around you, but also them appreciating you as well. Especially when it comes to romance. Here we go. The sun, yes. Ooh, guys, I like this. You guys are really working towards your overall happiness. And you might have Leo in your chart. But really just focusing on, you know, happiness and what that really truly looks like for you. You know, walking into the light of, you know, that path that's being lit up for you when it comes to this temple path card here. Some of you might be also some of you might be doing a little bit more like prayer and meditation kind of stuff. Some of you guys might be like going to church or just like praying more, you know, depending on, you know, what your spiritual beliefs are and things like that. Getting meditation, praying, church, different things. But definitely something outside of self and relying on something that, you know, I usually just say source or the creator, that allows you to feel that you are connected to something bigger than yourself, to help you get through some of the things that you've been dealing with. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, because you might have been feeling kind of bound and tied up when it comes to, you know, certain aspects of life, with them all tied up in the middle of the deck here. But really just trying to figure out how to, you know, move past those different things. Like I said, it's going to look different for everybody, so definitely take the messages as they resonate. Tell us more. What else is going on with the collective? Seventh chakra, Archangel Uriel is here again, and it came out along with deceit. So those, with those cards coming out together, it's basically saying to me that, like, you guys have dealt with people who were deceitful, right? And this is why evil eye showed up, right? That energy of people who don't necessarily have the best your best interests at heart and things like that. People who have ulterior motives. Spirit is like saying you have been very keen on who these people are and what that energy looks like around you. So, you know, just paying attention to that and knowing the people that needed to be released. Even if it's your own, like, you know, ways of thinking and doing things, you know, there is definitely a such thing as self-deception. You know, if we're sitting there telling ourselves, you know, oh yeah, you know, everything's fine and it's not, you know, some area of life, whether it's with people, within ourselves, so on and so forth. Getting something like that as well. So really paying attention to what that is, right? So we got two different energy when it comes to male energy. Just saying. We have the thinking man here on the top of the deck, along with man holding a coin. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet if that's like the same person or two different people. One might be you, might be another person. Like, I'm not sure yet, but magician and the mirror. I'm getting somebody might have. I'm getting this is the same person. I feel like they're getting. Yeah, see, getting tongue tied. What I'm getting here is you guys were very privy to somebody's deception. And that person, when you confronted them, if you did confront them, they probably fumbled over their words and, like, you caught them in lies. Like, they were able to be very, very manipulative and, you know, I heard the words wordplay. Like, they knew how to, like, sucker you into situations and things like that with their words, or because, like, maybe they're very stable and things like that, put air quotes there, but they're also maybe a little bit greedy and, you know, very worldly in that way. I'm getting something like that. Let me know if it resonates in the comment section. But yeah, I'm getting manipulation here, and you kind of saw through the smoke and mirrors is what I'm getting. You finally saw the truth for what it was and was like, fuck this, and you bounced. My nose is itching as I'm saying all that, so there might be some truth to that. Let me know in the comment section. Let's get one more card from here. Thank you, Spirit. What's this? Rest and rejuvenation. Yes. Taking better care of your physical vessel, taking time when needed when it comes to just, you know, the healing process, you know, especially because, like, if this is about love in particular, like, you know, it takes time to be able to get out of these kind of situations, right, out of the funk, and being able to say, okay, I'm ready to put myself back out there again. It doesn't happen overnight. And I do feel like a lot of you guys are, like, at that point where you're like, you're ready to put yourself back out there and see, you know, what the world has to offer, you know. You getting, like, you know, the world is your oyster kind of energy, and it's like, you know, but at the same time, you guys are wary, right? You're like, you know, like, do I really want to, you know, it's like playing a game of, you know, hopscotch, or not hopscotch, double dutch, like when, you know, you're waiting for the ropes to, like, be at the right pace, you know, the right time, and then you jump in. And it's like, you know, unfortunately, there's never really truly a right time. You know, you just have to use your intuition on that. And that's why I think we saw a card about intuition more than once. Um, when does it feel right to put yourself back out there again? Because part of it is about the healing process first, working on that part, so that way you can, you know, make sure that you've managed all of those emotions and things like that, so that you are ready and you present yourself as such before you just say, oh, willy-nilly, oh, I'm just gonna start dating again. Like, yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. Like, you have to, like, you know, so you don't hurt another person because you've been hurt. You have to make sure that you are in a position where you actually are ready, or at the very least have started to work on the healing process, at the very least. Because again, is there really a true thing as being quote unquote ready? A lot of times there's not. A lot of times you just have to kind of take the risk. A little bit of like a leap of faith. It's giving me like the fool vibes. Wouldn't be shocked if that were to show up when we start reading from the tarot. But yeah, see, I was just talking about intuition, and here we go with more intuition. Sixth chakra, Archangel Metatron here in the bottom of the deck, along with on the top the temple path is here again. And remember, I was saying that some of you guys might be relying more like on source and something outside of yourself to help guide you during this time. And that's why I keep getting something about like meditation and prayer and stuff like that. Like, I'm definitely getting people who have been like, looking outside of self to get that sense of, comfort and healing, which is a beautiful thing. Because we can't always do it all by ourselves, right? As I say that, what community? we can't always do it all by ourselves. You might have friends that are super close to you who you get to, kind of talk to throughout this process. People, I keep getting church. I'm getting somebody might have like, I know it's, funny that, we're talking about tarot and all that stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with going to church if that's what you do and what you're into. Nothing wrong with that. People come up here and we talking all the shit in the world about what I do up here. But I'm like, I mean, what I do is what I do, and what other people do is what they do. But I have never, said anything negative about people who, if that's what they feel is their way of being able to have some type of, connection to a higher power, by all means, do it. I keep getting that, so some people might, be on. I heard Bible study just now, so people might be doing something like that. This seems like more of a separate message, but somebody might be going to like 12 step meetings. Now that seems like a very separate thing, but if somebody was dealing with some type of like addictions or anything like that, some people might have been looking at that as a form of solace, and community for themselves. Being able to have the community, but then still be able to have that moment to themselves to be able to reflect. I'm getting something like that. Very, very different energy there on that part, but I did pick up on that just now. Like, I literally was able to envision somebody like at one of those kind of meetings. So let me know that resonates if you're comfortable, of course. you know Not forcing anybody, not forcing any beliefs or anything like that into anyone in this community that we're trying to build here. So now we're going to start reading from the tarot. That was just like, getting a baseline of what's going on with you guys. My goodness, there's a lot happening. I mentioned something earlier about finding peace and balance within self, right? This Temperance card showing up now. Now that's Sagittarius energy, but before I was picking up on like maybe Libra energy, and we also have the Ten of Cups here. So you're happily ever after, or maybe even just like family dynamics, right? So it might be married or have children, or that might be something that you're aspiring to have, or family can just play a big factor at this time when it comes to the stuff that you're working on, letting go, and the things that you're also welcoming in. Let me know if that makes sense or resonates. All right, so let's see. Spirit, what else does the collective need to know at this time? Let's shuffle a few more times, and then we'll start looking into that as well. One more shuffle. All right. Yeah, see, some of you guys, we have Four of Cups here, have possibly been feeling a little bit, I heard shut out, but really what I'm also getting to is like just feeling kind of at odds with certain aspects of your life, possibly with love. Just feeling a sense of dissatisfaction and kind of just like apathetic about it, kind of a whatever kind of attitude, like it is what it is, nothing's ever going to get better with this shit anyway, so I'm not worried about it, like that kind of mentality, which I totally understand. Been there many times, but I also feel like you guys have, despite like that, I heard the word facade, the facade that you're putting on when it comes to being like, whatever, I don't care about love, blah, blah. Deep down, you kind of want it, It's a part of your wish fulfillment. Nine of Cups here. So it's like, it's just, the problem has always been you feel like you overextend. And it's like, you got the Six of Pentacles in the middle of the deck in the reverse. It's always like this, imbalance when it comes to how much effort you pour out and put out there, which causes you to feel like, fuck that. Why the hell would I put myself in a position where I'm going to date again when this is what I always get back? Fuck that shit. And I don't blame you for feeling that way. At all, because I've definitely, like I said, I've definitely been there before, and I know what that feels like. I know what it looks like, and it's not fun. Like, nobody wants to feel like that, right? It's not a good position to be in, but that's why we're talking about what we're releasing, right? um, I think deep down, a lot of you guys do want to have all of, the, I won't even use the word traditional, but you will probably aspire to have, a partner and maybe kids, maybe marriage, or just like, something long term, even if it's something unorthodox, like to, most people's, value systems and things like that. Doesn't matter. The point of the matter is, you guys definitely are showing up in the cards as folks who do want love, and it's just more about, mm, when is it going to be the right time and opportunity for me. But again, like I said before, um, is there ever really truly a right time? I don't think that there truly is a definitive right time. I think it's more about, this is my opinion. Hey there, how are you? Nice to see you here. Um, Sorry, another download like coming in at the same exact time as I'm trying to tell you guys what I was saying. Because, okay, let me try to get out the first thing that I was saying and then see if the download stays. Because I'm like putting it over here in my brain. Like, okay, you wait, let me finish what I was saying. Um, yeah, like I'm just getting like, again, this energy of, is there ever truly a such thing as being ready? Sometimes no. Like, if we wait to be ready for certain things, sometimes we miss opportunities because, there are things like, fear and things like that, kind of stifle us and keep us stuck and stagnant. And we just keep on living the same cycle over and over again, not realizing that sometimes we just have to take a shot, right? And say, I'm just going to go for it, you know? Um, and I mean, that's the different areas of life, it's so many different places in our lives. Like, being at a job for, you could be working at a job for 15, 20 years, and you realize, like, wow, I've been stuck in this place, in this loop, this hamster wheel for all these years, getting passed up for promotions and not getting raises and things like that, not feeling appreciated in my with all the work that I do. There are companies that will gladly take me in and give me the salary I know I deserve, and praise me for all my hard work, so on and so forth. And we still stay at jobs that we're not happy in. And that can be said in all different areas of our lives, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to friends and family that we know we need to cut off, and we keep them around because we're like, I feel bad if I don't keep them around. Like, sometimes it's guilt. It could be, again, fear is a big one. So on and so forth. I don't want to, go off too much on that. But Spirit really wanted me to, put that out there. Very interesting. Tell us more, Spirit. What else is going on? Overall energy. Yeah. These cards are the same thing. We have Four of Swords. We have it's not Four of Swords, but it's Rest and Rejuvenation. And those cards are the same type of energy. So this is where you guys are currently. A lot of you. You're in that restful, or you're working at being in that restful state of, just focusing on, rejuvenation and, hopefully taking care of your physical vessel and things like that. But on the flip side of that, there's also this energy of kind of being like, inactive in the sense of like, I'm just gonna kind of stay. It's giving me hermit a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of stay over here in the corner, and not put myself out there, especially when it comes to love, because I'm resting and I am, focusing on my healing, which is good. But don't get to the point, and Spirit is telling me to tell y'all this. Um, don't don't put a mask over yourself in the sense of saying, oh yeah, I'm just healing and resting and working on myself, when in reality you're putting yourself out there in terms of dating. Spirit did want me to say that, because there might be somebody who's avoiding dating because they're like, no, I'm not ready. Yeah, see, look, we have 9 of Cups here again. So it's like, definitely working on wish fulfillment and things like that. Or trying to get to that point at some point. Really, I heard hyper fixated. You might be hyper fixated on this whole like, oh, this is my self love journey and I'm all about me and blah. Like, I'm not gonna say blah blah blah. That's a good thing. But I'm also getting, this is a time to kind of venture out a little bit, open up a little bit, maybe hang out with friends. Like I was picking up on Hermit. I would not be shocked that the Hermit card were to pop up during this reading, because I'm picking up on people who've just kind of been like laying low, staying in the house, and just, again, masking everything with, oh, I'm just kind of, resting. I'm just, like, I get it, trust me. But, I'm also getting like this might be a time for some exploration of some sort, because we have Page of Swords here. I'm not sure why I'm getting this. I'm getting it for somebody though. Somebody might also be like doing a little bit online dating. Kind of playing it real cool on there. Like, I'm getting like, swiping left and right kind of thing, seeing, what's out there, and getting discouraged because, I mean, the dating pool is kind of shit. So it's like, I get it. It's like, when I looked up, I saw 3232. And I get it. But at the same time, it's like, if you want to do that to pass the time, nothing wrong with that. But there's also things that you can do that, allow for you to just have fun, like, in general, and then you might, meet somebody that way. It might be like a chance encounter thing, or meeting, someone through another person or something like that. I'm getting something along those lines. So, if like online dating and stuff is not your forte, which I totally understand. I get it. Like, maybe you tried it, you're like, not really my thing. Perfectly understandable. But this could definitely just be a time to even take yourself out on a solo date. Get dressed up, and just like, do something just, nice for yourself, right? Get all, for the ladies, get all pretty, put a little bit of makeup on if that's your thing. Got like that old freakum dress in the closet somewhere. Be like, damn, I haven't worn that dress in like 2-3 years. Let me go put that shit on, see if it still fits. Ooh, it barely fits, but it looks good. I'm gonna put a little cardigan and a little belt around my waist to make sure I look good right now. Like, whatever, change your hair, like whatever it is that you want to do for yourself. Like, I did something very different just the other day when I went to get my nails done. My hands are a little bit dry, so they might look like old lady hands, and I'm almost 40, so I mean, I'm getting there. But I did a completely different thing that I usually, y'all know, I usually have my nails a little bit longer, and like, I usually have to, like, decals and stones and designs, and nope, I went with straight up nude nails, pinkish nude nails. And I was shocked that I did that, because that's just not my thing. I did something different. I did something new. And I was like, oh, even my nail tech was like, girl, you've never done that with me. I'm like, I know. You've been my nail tech for 6 years. And then prior to that, the person I went to was like my nail tech for 11. So I'm just like, same place too. But she, anywho, Yeah, she opened up a restaurant, so I went to a new person, and that lady's been doing my nails, and she was like shocked. She's like, "Wait, what? You cutting them down that low, and no design?" I was like, "Yeah, I kind of just want to see how I feel about it. I'm in my, I guess, my auntie phase. I don't have no nieces or nephews, but there's nothing wrong with a little bit of classiness and delicacy. You know what I mean? But anyway, besides the point. But Spirit wanted me to share that little quick little tidbit with y'all because, like, doing something just different, out of your norm might be the thing that could get the ball rolling in a new direction of meeting new people, whether it's dating wise or just in general, right? Doing something fun and unique. Like I just got invited to like a sip and paint thing. I've never done a sip and paint, but I always wanted to do it, and I think I'm gonna actually go. And I'm just like, it's with coworkers or whatever from the school, and I'm just like, why the fuck not? Hang out with teachers a little bit, and teachers act, y'all don't know, but we get it in, okay? We have Page of Cups here in the middle of the deck, so excuse me. It's definitely giving me like kind of just dipping your foot in the pond a little bit, like, okay, what's out there in the dating world, and seeing, if any of those offers bite, you know what I mean, if any of them actually stay, stick and stand, right? It's like, why not, put, give it a whirl and see just kind of what happens. All right, so let's see. Whoa, I'm gonna put these back, however. Okay, no, wait, I'm not putting them back. I'm gonna keep them. All right, look. This is how the cards came out. Before, like, the question was in my head, but I didn't say it out loud. Look, there's a match here. King and Queen of Wands facing each other with the Ten of Pentacles. Basically, Spirit is like, this is what you can welcome in. Passion. And we did see passion, but it was at the bottom of the deck in the beginning of the reading, and then love came out after that. So basically what Spirit is saying is there's going to be a lot of passion between you and the next person that you end up with. So those of you who are single and are trying to possibly put yourself back out there when it comes to dating and all that, if this message is resonating, they're letting you know, there's gonna be fire and desire. I just heard Rick James and Tina Marie. You light my fire, baby, and you burn me up within your flames. Like, whew, child, I got a little bit hot. Got the air conditioner on, and it's fall time, and I'm a little bit hot. So it's like, I like this a lot. Because I wasn't even done with asking my question. In my head, I was saying it, and then the cards just came out. I didn't even get to say it out loud. And, like, so we have something that's passionate and fiery. Some of you might have fire in your chart, or the person that's coming towards you might have fire in their chart. But there's also the sense of practicality there, too. And you guys are going to be able to bring in things together, put your resources together. I like that. And then there's still even emotion involved, too. Queen of Cups. So this is very well balanced. I like this energy. Apologies for the sound in the background. Ooh. The Empress? Holy shit. Some of you might have Taurus in your chart. But if you ain't trying to get knocked up, be careful. Because but also there's just a sense of, like, growth and expansion. You guys are like in your divine feminine or divine masculine era right now, and like you're really, really plugged in when it comes to that. Like, you have everything like really going for you. You're working on your finances. I'm getting that you guys are feeling more confident in yourself, or at least working towards that, feeling stable. So this is really, 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 I'm getting level-headed energy here. This is good. And look, that Ten of Cups is here again. I like that. This is nice. Ten of Cups and Ten of Pentacles showing up in the same reading. Yes, that's good stuff. All right, tell us more. So, I mean, what I was going to ask is what you guys working on releasing, but they're like, no, 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 no. We're going to talk about what they're welcoming in. So now we're going to ask about what are you guys releasing. The spirit was not playing. They like, no, 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 no. Fuck the negative shit. We're going to talk about this positive stuff coming in. Because you guys have been working really, really hard at, working towards welcoming in what it is that you guys know you deserve. Yeah, you're letting go of this. Five of Pentacles. And that shot out. Like, that sense of, despair or, hardships. Feeling left out in the cold. Like that shit, nah. You're all letting that go. You guys are really on the up and up or working towards being there. Um, I'm definitely getting people who have been like between a rock and a hard place at different points in their life and just turned that whole thing around or are working on things like that. Um, and maybe that's why I kept on picking up on like prayer and like maybe church and stuff like that, community. Like I kept picking up on that. Like some of you might have been homeless before or have had addiction issues. No judgment here at all by any means, but it is something I'm picking up on for somebody who ends up watching this at, even if it's at a later time. You might not resonate with it currently, like the folks who are watching, but there could be maybe just like one person who might resonate with that, or maybe it's something that has happened within your family dynamic at different points in time, like parents or something like that. I'm getting something like that. Let me know if that makes sense and if you feel like sharing. But here on the bottom of the deck, look what's coming towards a lot of y'all. This Ace of Pentacles. That's the hand of God, like saying, look, you've been through a lot. We're going to turn that whole shit around and, bring in a lot more positivity into your life, whether it's in the form of finances or just blessings in general, including in love. And that's a beautiful energy to be in, yeah. Healing energy here. Some of you might have Aquarius in your chart. The star here on the top of the deck. Really working on that healing process and, keeping, that sense of hope alive within yourself, despite the things that you might have encountered. Seven of Cups in the middle of the deck. I'm getting more than one message on that one, so bear with me. There might be some dreams and aspirations that a lot of you guys like kind of put on hold for a while, and Spirit is kind of calling you guys to go towards those things again. Whether it's within your career or something that you wanted to go towards when it comes to career that you maybe put on hold. I'm getting something like that. I'm also getting pay attention to your dreams, especially because like we saw a card about the seventh chakra come out more than once earlier in the reading, which is about like the crown, and that's about downloads directly from source. So some of your dreams might be really, 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 really like vivid right now. You might be having like lucid dreams. You might be astral projecting. Let me know if that resonates. You might be having headaches. Let me know if that resonates. But that stuff is happening because Spirit wants you to know like we are there. My son's like, I'm sorry. They're letting you know like, they're definitely helping guide you at this time. And a lot of the, signs and synchronicities and stuff like that, they're happening not just by mere coincidence or by chance. They're happening for a legitimate reason. Hope that makes sense. All right, so I'm also getting, because I was talking about like what you're releasing or letting go. I'm also just getting kind of like maybe a lack mindset, especially those of you who, if you dealt with like financial issues at any point in time, and I feel like I resonate with this, so I'm gonna take this message as well. Throat chakra. So, excuse me. As soon as I said that, Spirit was like, we're gonna call your ass out too. Yeah, okay, I see what y'all did there. It's telling on me. But what I was gonna say is I have a tendency to have issues with my lack mindset, and sometimes I almost don't feel like I deserve, this is because of the mindset, almost like as if I don't deserve the blessings coming towards me. So when things have been different or have changed, I'm like, is this really like real? Like, is this really happening right now? Like, do I deserve it? Like, did I earn this shit? And then it's like the thing is like our thoughts manifest, right? So if you're saying something like that, and that's the way that you tend to think, even when blessings are coming in, that can become an issue over time because it's like, okay, well, hello, we're trying to help you out. You know what I mean? We're trying to, bestow these, blessings upon you, right? Help release the burdens, because I started to shuffle, but look where I stopped at, right? On the bottom of the deck here. I'm trying to help you release those burdens, and you're holding on to them. Why? And it's because of what's happening up here. So Spirit wanted me to stop what I was doing there and say that. Let me just read these real quick because I didn't get a chance to. That's why Ironically, for me, this past 5 years, I would say it's been really rough. Ever since COVID, honestly, like I was and COVID, like even 2020 was like decent, and then 2021 was when things really hit really hard for me, and 2022 as well. So like it's just been a series of years that have been kind of rough, and then like I've gotten to better places, but the thing is I have to acknowledge within myself that part of the problem is me. I have to acknowledge that, and I have a really hard time with acknowledging it because I'm like, oh no, I'm so gracious and I'm so this and I'm so, but then I get into my darker shadow self, and I'm so used to things being so fucked up all the time that that's where I end up going back mentally. I'm like, wow, everything's going so great. There has to be a fucking catch. Like, there's no way everything's like this fucking awesome. It's kind of like when people are in like really bad in relationships and everything's going great, and then they fucking you know self sabotage it. Like, bruh, what are you doing? Stop self sabotaging. So Spirit is definitely saying there might be some people right now who also can resonate with the idea of self sabotage. Okay, and it happens. It happens to the best of us. But and that's why we're doing this reading right now, right? Like Spirit is like putting that out there. Like, look, if any of you guys are suffering with that, just understand. This is the time to release that. Really start doing some deep like breath work and stuff like that, meditation, so on and so forth, all the stuff that we kind of were talking about before. Whatever works for you, music, um taking a walk while the weather still permits, right? Depending on where you live. Like I live on the East Coast, so right now the weather is great. I'm loving this with the weather getting a little bit cooler and stuff. Maybe I'll go outside for a little bit after this. We'll see. Just throwing a little fleece and be, out there walking in the neighborhood or whatever. But point being, though, like, you know, whatever works for you, but definitely this energy of, kind of getting into that more positive, abundant mindset for sure. Absolutely. Tim Fletcher. See if I can remember that. Tim Fletcher. See, that's one thing I need to work on too. Like, I know I got inner child stuff for sure. That nervous system work, I'm noticing that more and more lately. Wow. I love that you guys are so like self-aware that like, as we're talking about this stuff, you guys are able to kind of share your experiences too, because like, we're all, in different areas of our lives, but at the same time, we are a collective. So a lot of our, shit kind of, it's like layers of an onion. It all kind of comes together, and we're like, oh wow, you're not that much different from me. You know what I mean? Like, so I love when, you guys do interact in here and I get to see your comments and I share my stories too. Like, I'm not this all knowing being or anything like that. Like how people act like they're gurus and stuff. Like, I'm not a guru. Like, I take my experiences, and I love what like my girl Ati says. Those of you who are subscribers, from Tears and Wheat Tarot show, check my girl out. I'm just saying, she's amazing, and a lot of people that are here currently are also her subscribers too. And we've kind of been building this community, and I love that. But she always talks about turning testimony into tarot. And she takes her personal experiences and talks about, how they might, translate and relate to a reading that she's doing. And I love it because it's like it allows us to all be vulnerable, and also for us to be able to understand that, again, a lot of us are really connected in different ways. Like our stories are different and yet still very much the same at the same time. Now they always say, uh, two things could be true at once. You know what I mean? And it's like it's definitely, kind of mind-boggling how, like, I'll watch one of her readings and she'll like come onto my reading, and then like the readings are very similar, and then like check out another one of our friends. Um, so like Aya Inspired Tarot, or Clarity Empress, so on and so forth. And we're all in the same community, and we've been all like kind of all working and intermingling together, like building this network. And I love it because it's like, that genuineness and sincerity, where we all are, again, able to kind of, build upon each other in a positive way. It's beautiful. So when people don't believe in this stuff, I'm like, you keep telling yourself that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that all of us have the same goddamn reading, like the same message. You know what I mean? Like, why do you think that is? Because there's so many people going through the same stuff, and we're all connected. you know just saying. Spirit wanted me to say that too. Let's see. Just like, you know some advice, or like the likely outcome. I still have a bunch of other cards here. I'm not gonna read from all of them, but oh, okay, got it. Whoa, okay. Oh, crap. Okay, so they kind of like rolled out, roll out, roll out, like a little tumbleweed of cards. That it's just three cards, but like the way that they came out of my hand though was kind of crazy. This one was the first one. Six of Wands, which is about success and victory. I love that. Recognition, right? We saw a card about recognition earlier, or appreciation, but I was talking about feeling a sense of recognition within relationships earlier. And it came out along with the Death card. This is the order that they came out, like when they tumbled out of my hand just now. The Death card, which is about death and rebirth, major endings, right, and transformation, along with the Wheel of Fortune. Those all came out together. So it's basically saying, like, when these cycles end and you allow for things to kind of happen the way it's meant to, because sometimes, I'm going to say we, because I can resonate with this message. When we try to avoid change, that's when we just keep seeing the same old, right? Same things kind of repeating themselves over and over again. Like, remember I said hamster wheel earlier, right? Those same cycles repeating themselves. When we allow like ourselves to put things at a halt and stop and end, that's when we allow for that wheel to turn in a new direction. We might have had to face karmas and things like that, right? With that Wheel of Fortune there. But once that wheel turns in that opposite direction into the new stuff that's happening and coming into your life, that's when you allow for things to come through and come in, the positive stuff, the dharma, right? And that success and victory after all the things that you had to encounter, right? All those things you had to encounter first to get there. That Ten of Wands there. Letting go of those burdens, right? To have the sun, the happiness, that sense of happiness. Definitely getting Leo energy. Somebody might have Leo in their chart. Yep. And then there will be something to celebrate, right? Something worth celebrating with this Three of Cups. And it might be with your community, right? The people close to you. I just said it, that here we're building a community with, folks who are on the same, path when it comes to their spiritual journey and things like that. We might have different stories, different things to, testify with. But the reality is, a lot of times the lessons are very, very similar. And that allows us to really build this community and grow together, which I absolutely love and adore. Let me see. I'm looking at the cards that I have out. Where are we? Yeah, we're at almost the hour mark. So speaking of Aya, those of you who know Aya or Veronica, but Aya Inspired Tarot, she gifted me these cards, so I'm going to use these because I felt connected to them before I started the reading. The Shaman's Dream here. So I'm going to do some shuffles. Middle of the deck, we have Beloved, Radical Acceptance. Yes, definitely just accepting things for what they are, no matter how painful it might be and how hard it is to get through. The reality is, we have to accept things for what they are sometimes. And then with that acceptance comes, newfound blessings and things like that. Um, but we definitely have to be able to learn how to say, okay, sometimes life throws us for a loop. And we have to just understand, okay, this is what's happening. I have to accept things for what is at this time, but I also have the capacity to be able to alter things to go in my favor as well. Bottom of the deck we have Garden of Venus, rest and renewal, rest and renewal, renewal, and rest and rejuvenation. Ooh, this card is really pretty. I don't think I've ever seen this one. I have not seen this card. This is really pretty. Some of you might have some really important placements in Venus. I don't know much about like reading natal charts and stuff. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I know how to do all that stuff because I don't. It's something I'm interested in. Some of you might be good at that stuff. Spirit just wanted me to put that out there. The farther gate. Bold step forward. Now, we didn't see the official card, but I did pick up on the Fool vibe earlier, and that's like the Fool of this deck. So taking that step in a new direction, even though it might be uncomfortable, right? Get comfortable with being uncomfortable is what I'm getting here. Whether it's about your healing process, going back into the dating world, if that's something that's happening in your life at this time, so on and so forth. But, and healing, healing is not comfortable either. Like, I always talk about this, but like, how like when you're sick or something, like, you know how they say like, oh, it's going to feel worse before it feels better or gets better. That's part of the healing process in general in life. Like, you have to go through so much different steps before you feel like you've been working on the healing process. And even then, and I'm not like, you gotta, take away from, like, I don't want to be like a negative Nancy or anything like that. But like, I always talk about this as well. Like, healing is not linear at all, right? There are going to be days where there's going to be times, long ass stretch of times, it could be years in some cases, where you're like, oh, I'm perfectly fine, I've healed from X, Y, and Z, and then all of a sudden, one thing happens and it puts you back, very far back where you were before. It doesn't mean that you haven't healed, but the reality is, like, we will be lying to ourselves if we were to say there are not going to still be triggers and things like that that could kind of bring us back. Now, do we still have the capacity to be able to get back, forward in our life? Absolutely. So it's up to us to be able to recognize our triggers and how do we deal with them when they happen. So on and so forth. Hope that makes sense. Same thing with grieving. Like they say, oh, there are these steps of grieving. There's no steps of grieving. It's all over the fucking place. I just saw something last night, and they were like, that's hogwash. Like, if anything, take those same steps and put them in a pie chart. It's gonna change from day to day. One day you're dealing with the acceptance part. One day you're dealing with the anger part. One day you're dealing with the numb. Like, I forget all of the different stages of grief, but like. And there's gonna be times where we're not even in that circle at all, and then all of a sudden you're back in it, and that makes a lot more sense. That's a lot more human-like than thinking that things just happen like this. They don't. They happen like this. Okay. Um, it's not to, burst anyone's bubble or anything. Like, things do get better, but at the same time, we have to take accountability and be able to say, okay, I have to take my circumstances, accept them for what they are, and do what's necessary to better my circumstances and how I perceive those circumstances, how I feel about those circumstances. And it takes time, and it takes change within ourselves, and so on and so forth. But 5 might be a number that you're seeing a lot. You might be seeing 555, just 5 by itself, or variations of 5, because we have 55 on this card. And then the next card that came out is this card, which I didn't even read yet. Drifter, experiencing life as it comes. Exactly. That's all we can do. And the number I hear is 14, which also adds up to 5. So, yeah, let's get one more from here. Yep, taking life as it comes. We don't have full control over everything, but we do have control over how we react to things. So, if we keep that in mind, we have a lot more control than we beat ourselves to think sometimes, I feel. I don't think I've ever seen this card before. Dragon's Hoard, protecting the future. Remember we were talking about being spiritually protected before? Well, here we go. You guys are spiritually protected at this time. So, again, life might be happening, because life be lifing, right? And that shit's hard. It's not easy. But, Spirit is just letting you guys know, like, despite all of that, just know that you have bright things happening ahead of you because of the work that you've put in at this time. But they also don't want you to forget about yourself, which is very easy to do when you've been through a lot. Some of this, for some of you, might be stemming from childhood. And that's why they really want there to be an emphasis on this. This actually reminds me of fall. There's like leaves. There's like a little child here. It says Root Girl. I've never seen this card before either. This is new energy coming in. Root Girl, the disowned self. So, hope you guys can see that. There's like a little girl, like, in fetal position basically. And there's like leaves growing out of her and roots, and they're like, a lot of this stuff is very deep seated, right? For some of you, it stems as far back as childhood. And I'm getting definitely this, like, working on inner child, self-love kind of thing. That's like a whole separate message. And the left side of my nose started to itch when I said that. So, like, that's definitely talking about past. There might be some anger and resentment. Some of you might be struggling with issues with parents, I'm getting, or siblings. But this is definitely a time of, like, nurturing self. Nurturing yourself. Yeah, see? Cosmic womb, the divine feminine. I talked about the divine feminine earlier when I was talking about the Empress. And now look at that as I'm talking about childhood wounds. So some of you might be having issues with your mom or mother figure in your life. Skywriting, the fates. The thing is, this is fate. This is the way that things are meant to happen. And they happen this way so that you can learn the lessons necessary. Hence the Wheel of Fortune that showed up, and other cards that were very similar to that earlier in the reading as well. Let's see. I think I want to read from maybe two or three more decks. Let's go with these. Yeah, 3 more decks. I'm only going to pull like maybe 1 or 2 cards from the other ones, and that's going to be it. So, don't want to hold you guys too long. But I am grateful for those of you who decided to stick around and be here, because can't do it without y'all. Really appreciate you guys. And if you haven't done so already, which I'm sure that you guys have, but if you have not, hit that subscribe button and that like button, and the notification bell too, so that you know when I'm on here. lack of commitment here on the bottom of the deck. It says hesitation and half-hearted efforts are limiting your success. Find a path that you can fully commit to and jump in with both feet for increased success. So some of you guys might, remember the big thing that we kind of was getting here was the love stuff. So it's like, if that is the case, you guys have been like really half in and half out with that. And they're like, look, if you actually like really try and put yourself out there, you never know what's gonna actually happen, right? But that's the scary part, right? That fear of the unknown. And that's why I was picking up on like the Fool card earlier, and then we got an energy that was very similar to the Fool card in another deck. So like, yeah. Yes, she is. Yep, that's exactly it. Yep. I I could resonate with that. Inner child, and then like having to accept, and have confidence in your spiritual gifts. I did not start doing what I'm doing right now until about 5 years ago. Like I had inklings my whole life since I was a kid, but like I also thought it was crazy or something was wrong with me. I'm like, I mean, that could, again, two things can be true at once. But no, seriously. Like, because ever since I was a kid, like I was always very sensitive, and like I would cry. I used, what the fuck 2-year-old do you know cries when they hear "Man in the Mirror" by Michael Jackson? I was 2 years old and I would cry every time I heard that song. I would have to skip it on the album. Like, I'm like, I can't listen to this song. Skip. Or like when the Dangerous album came out, I was 6 years old at that time. I couldn't listen to Heal the World, and I couldn't listen to Gone Too Soon. I could not listen to those songs. Couldn't do it. Or, because I love the Jacksons, State of the World, Janet Jackson, the Rhythm Nation album. To this day, can't listen to that song. I mean, I could listen to it, but I cry every time. And I used to cry, and I was 4 years old when that album came out. So I'm just, what the fuck are you doing? With who? Chewy? There's bugs out there. I saw my son like grabbing freaking little lawn chairs. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Portable lawn chairs. I'm like, where are you going? It's about to also rain, I think, soon. But by all means. But yeah. So I was always a sensitive child, and I used to hear things, I used to see things, and like all these things, like I kind of blocked out as I got older, because I was like, oh, I have to ignore those things because something's like off. Now I understand, but it took me a long time to get to that point. So I definitely resonate with that, and I'm sure that other people who might end up watching later might resonate with that as well. A lot of people who watch tarot have spiritual gifts themselves. Playing safe. You've been taking the easy path, and your laziness. This is for me. Your laziness will not pay off. See, I can't even get that part out. Spirit is like, we're gonna hold your ass accountable tonight, y'all. You want to go giving readings and shit? Now we reading your ass. Okay. Start taking bold actions and challenge yourself to be bigger and better. I get you, Spirit. I see what you did there. Well played. Well played. Let's get two more. And then I'm going to read from, it's two more decks. I guess I brought out like a bunch. But I knew I wasn't going to read from all of them. So I'm only reading from what I feel like really strong connection to. There we go. Self-doubt. Remember I was talking about self-sabotage? There we go. Says self-doubt. Subconscious doubts are influencing your decisions. Facts. Have faith in your abilities. In your abilities, she is. You're ready and you're worthy, so aim high. You can't make this shit up even if you wanted to. And it says wrong time. It came out together. Timing doesn't always align with desires. Thank you. Trust that when the moment is right, the path will become clear. Patience is a crucial part of the path. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Like, there's going to be times where, like, you're just waiting for, like, the perfect opportunity. And sometimes you just have to, acknowledge, like, it's always going to feel like the wrong time because, let's say if self-doubt is one of the things that is hindering the timing, right? You're like, oh, well, I don't think I have enough credentials to try to apply to that job, so that means I probably shouldn't even bother. Like, just go for it. Sometimes you just have to take the risk and just try, right? You know, you're gonna miss every shot that you don't take. I just saw that somewhere today. I think it was at a job, like on a, like maybe on like one of the, yeah, it was on somebody put it on like one of the little motivation boards in the school, and I walked past it and I backtracked a little bit. I looked, I was like, I think Spirit wanted me to see that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just, you know, right, you know, place, right time kind of thing. And I saw that and it was like a little bit motivating. So I'm like, you know, I have that I was talking about this earlier, that mentality of like, yeah, it's probably not the best time to do this. And like, I'm trying to have all the ducks in a row. Like, sometimes there's no such thing. Sometimes there's no such thing as having quote unquote all of your ducks in a row. Sometimes you just have to take that leap and go towards what it is that you want. You know, now, should there be some preparation involved? Of course. But should you try to wait for everything to be right? No. Is there ever really truly a right time? Think about it like this. For those of you who, like, you know, went to college, like, on campus. I didn't get to do that. But, like, let's say we did. And that was scary as fuck, wasn't it? Like, I always wanted to do that. I just never did. I stayed local. But, like, 18 years old in a whole different fucking place. Like, what? That's gotta be freaking scary, right? And it's like, but were you ever truly ready to do that? No. Were your parents ready to let you go and, you know, flee the coop? Like, no. Nobody was ready for that shit. But it had to happen. When you know, first, you know, went after like a job that was in your field after school, if you went to college, or there's like, you know, did trade school even, or just a career field that you were really interested in, you went after, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna apply. Like, I might not have all the credentials or the experience yet, but I'm just gonna try, and then you got the job. Were you truly ready when you did that even? No, right? So on and so forth. So sometimes you have to just acknowledge, you know, you have to make your own right time, make your own opportunities, and don't doubt yourself when you do it. You know, stay really, really firm in that and be confident in those decisions. Lack of commitment is here again, baby. I'm just saying, Spirit ain't playing with us. I'm gonna say us, because Spirit's getting on me too, see? Red flag. You're ignoring critical warning signs that indicate trouble ahead. Reassess your choices now to prevent bigger issues later on. Now, to me, what I think Spirit is saying with that last card on the bottom there, it's like, don't create, you know, your own problems, right? It's like, if there are opportunities getting ready to present themselves in your life and you're sitting there, you know, looking for everything that could be possibly wrong, then like that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't equate, right? So something along those lines. And you're so welcome. And I'm just really happy that I'm here right now and that you guys are resonating, you know. I'm always appreciative of you guys, especially when you guys, like I said, you know, when you're talking or chatting in the chat and letting me know, or talking amongst yourselves and, you know, connecting with each other too. I love that. I really do. All right, so we're gonna get maybe 2 cards from here, and then we're gonna get 2 like last like motivational cards, and that'll be the end of the reading. I'm grateful for you guys, and I'm really happy that you guys have been tapping in, and I really hope you've been enjoying this message right now, because I've definitely been enjoying giving this message. One more shuffle. I haven't used these in a while. This is the surrender deck, by the way. I really like this one. Bottom of the deck, it says, surrender to your soul's path. Your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and every moment. You can't make this shit up even if you wanted to. It definitely like goes right back to everything we were just saying. Like, this is a part of the path. This is a part of your journey. And, you know, just understand that everything that's happening is happening in divine timing, exactly the way that's meant to happen. It doesn't always feel that way, but it is happening that way for a reason. Surrender your desire to control people. Okay, Spirit. Ah, you guys are really telling on me tonight. My goodness. Being over controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. Now, what I'm getting from that is like for those of you who might be a little bit like me, um, let's say, and when it says control people, I don't think it means like literally like trying to be like a tyrant. What I think they're saying here is more just like thinking that people are going to change and thinking that you can fix people and stuff like that. I'm getting something along those lines. And in fact, there is a card in here, I believe, that says let go of your desire to fix people. But I'm getting that too. It's like, you know, we kind of sometimes, let's say there's people in our lives and we're like, damn, that person would be perfect for me if they would just do this and that. Let me see if I can tweak them a little bit. Like, no, like a person, how they present themselves, what you see is what you get. You can't control nobody, you can't fix them. So it's like we have to accept people for what they are, and then from there we can decide whether or not that's the energy we want to keep around us or not. We don't have to keep that type of energy around us if we don't want to. We have free will, so it's up to you. You know, if a person does not meet up to the standards and whatnot that you need and or desire, then you do what you got to do. If you keep people around with the idea that you can mold them and shape them to what you want them to be, it's never gonna work, ever. It doesn't matter what relationship it is. It just isn't gonna happen. So been there, done that in many areas of my life. So we have to accept things and people for what they are, right? We talked about acceptance earlier. Bottom of the deck, it says surrender to receiving support and love. Allow love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. I said something about that earlier. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. We talked about nurturing yourself as well. Look how everything's coming back full circle. Let's get one more from here. My ear started ringing. That must have been a really important message. I think a lot of you guys are always taking care of everybody else, but don't take care of yourselves enough. I can relate to that for sure. Surrender the drama. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help you resolve the issue more quickly. Yep. Ironically, everybody's talking about Cardi B's album, and what is it called? Am I the Drama, right? I think that's what it's called, and everybody's been talking about, oh, look, I'm happy I looked up on the deck real quick. Surrender fear, but let me just finish the little tidbit about the Cardi B thing. I don't know why, like, I just got, like, a reference to that. But we she jokingly said somewhere recently, she was like, maybe I am the drama. Like, she called the album that, and then she's like, she said basically, I don't give a fuck if I am. Like, I'm about to put all these bitches in the ground when it comes to all the shit people been talking and stuff like that. I'm like, by all means, Cardi, shit, I won't be on your bad side. But anyway, bottom of the deck we have fear, and we talked about fear earlier, because I was definitely getting like fear-based stuff going on. Let go of the fearful stories you are telling yourself. That's a self-sabotage. Stay in the moment, focus on solutions, and celebrate every baby step forward. So even like the very small victories that you have, because we talked about being victorious earlier, even the smallest victories, make sure that you always acknowledge those things as well, because at the end of the day, you know, that's a part of your growth, right? Your expansion. And when you act like it doesn't exist, or you know, diminish it in some kind of way, or belittle it, like, it's not fair to you, right? You got to give yourself credit where it's due. We have fulfillment here when I split the deck of this last deck we're about to look at. So, you know, we were talking about wish fulfillment earlier, and I do feel like there are some great things going to come towards you. A lot of growth, a lot of expansion, prosperity. I think money is about to get better for a lot of you guys who've been dealing with financial stuff. I claim that one. And if this is more driven towards like your love life for a lot of y'all, there could be some big changes happening there too. So if you ended up watching like at a later time, maybe want to start this from the beginning. And for those of you who end up watching after it's been posted, if you made it this far, I hope that, you know, this message resonated, and I hope that it's helpful for any of you guys who, look, see, it's here again. Fulfillment. I hope that, you know, it definitely resonates, and, you know, struck a chord for you in a positive way so that you can acknowledge your worth and your greatness when it comes to, you know, what it is that you deserve wholeheartedly. Simplicity, you know, light as a feather, stiff as a board. But no, seriously, like some of you might be seeing feathers. I just saw a feather the other day. I almost picked it up, but I didn't. I just admired it from a distance as I was like with my students, and I was just like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta do stuff. They're gonna be like, why are you just picking up random feathers off the floor, Michelle? I was like, so I didn't pick it up, but I did admire it. So some of you might be seeing feathers. Could be like an ancestor or something like that, or a spirit guide communicating with you. So a mental note or reminder. We have openness. Some of you guys might really be into astrology or astronomy or moonology. But I'm also just getting this energy of like being open to change. We talked about change earlier when we were talking about the number 5 and how some of you guys might be seeing it a lot lately. So if that is true, Spirit definitely wants this to be a little bit more emphasis on that, being open to just, you know, allowing things to happen and being in like a flow-like state. I'm getting, because there are new beginnings getting ready to I like that. One more from here. There are some new beginnings coming in. Getting physically like moving for somebody. That seems very specific. That's not gonna be for everyone. But some people might be ready to move. And when I say move, I mean like you might be moving pretty far from where you currently are. It might be for work for some of you. Courage. I picked up on Leo energy earlier, and I'm picking up on it again. But we have courage here. So courage to accept these new changes, right? You know, simplify things by allowing yourself to be in more of a flow-like state. And community is here for the 3rd time now. Different deck, but it's here again. Yeah, your community can help, you know, help you open these new avenues. Yeah. Help you relish in your happiness, your delight, right? I love this deck. I haven't used it in a while, but it's a great one. Be patient with yourself. Spirit really wants there to be emphasis on this patience part. Be patient with yourself during these changes that you're going through, because at the end of the day, you know, it doesn't all happen overnight, right? So, wow, look at that. Wow. So I'm wishing you all the best of luck on that interview that you had. I hope that you hear something positive. If it feels good in your spirit, I hope that it feels good. And if it does, I hope that you hear something back. Wow, 800 miles away. That's wild. And you said that happened today. See, spirit. I see people who are watching. So with all that said, I love you guys so very much. So appreciative of you guys for being here, and those of you who end up watching at a later time as well. And again, if you're new to the channel and end up watching at a later time or haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, the like button, all that good stuff. Check out other videos that I've done and readings or whatever, to see if there's anything else that, you know, you might resonate with. You never know. Check it out. So yeah, I'm about to eat some dinner. So I'm starving. But I love you guys so much. And until next time. So today's Wednesday, right? You never know. I might. No, I'm lying. I'm not going on tomorrow. I was about to say I might go on tomorrow. I thought about it. I was like, nope. I have open house at the school tomorrow, so nope. I have to, you know, get all teacher like and, you know, show the parents around our classroom and stuff. But yeah, so no, I will not be on tomorrow. But maybe on Saturday. No promises even then. But you guys have a great evening, and until next time, hopefully on Saturday. You guys take care. Mwah.